Well, that's enough to know that we definitely need glass on the skeg. So there's a single layer of glass, and then I guess it's underneath gel coat. You can kind of see that the wood has gotten wet in places where it had delaminated. This is not surprising. Again, this is wet. You can feel it's wet to the touch here. And I tried to grind off, pull out this. This probably still needs to come out too, because this wet wood, I'm sure, extends up underneath here. It just hasn't had a chance to delaminate yet. This fillet is just a mess. It really wasn't well done at all. I think when I re-glass this whole thing, I got to put a piece of glass on the inside. I'll lay in a fillet with thickened epoxy first. Then I'll put a piece of glass that goes from the top edge down to about an inch over, all the way along. And then on both sides, of course. And then I'll put a piece of glass over the top that comes down to within about a half an inch of where the fillet is. And something feels rough over here. I don't have enough light over here, do I? This still requires some grinding. Now, the other spot is kind of encouraging. See how this gel coat crazing was happening here. A little bit of sanding, just a little bit of sanding, took a lot of that away. So I'm a little optimistic that this can be repaired without sort of having Good morning, welcome back. We have spent some time grinding away on the outside of the boat, the skeg and the hull. Made a bunch of dust, learned a lot of stuff, and then I spent about a week watching YouTube videos and reading online extensively to try to figure out what's the right approach for this project. Come to some decisions which I'll share with you, and as usual for me, I've gone way overboard. I spent $500 to buy the boat. I've spent so far $800 on materials to spruce it up. That's just me. Anyway, let me tell you what my thinking is. The crazing in the gel coat on the bottom of the hull was such that I think the right thing to do is to put a fiberglass layer over that, so that it'll be more or less a cosmetic layer, but it'll stabilize those cracks and give us a good substrate for a nice finish. I'm going to go with chop strand and epoxy. Now that sounds like a crazy thing for many of you, probably for many of you experts out there. The reason being that most chop strand available in the United States has a styrene binder. Styrene is soluble in polyester resin and not in epoxy resin. So generally speaking, many people think of chop strand as being incompatible with epoxy. However, there is a place where you can get fiberglass products at a great price. It's called the fiberglassite.com. They have a chop strand that does not use styrene in the binder and is, according to them, compatible with epoxy as well as polyester or vinyl ester resin. So I'm going to go with 1.5 ounce chop strand mat, total boat epoxy resin with the slow hardener. I'm a little nervous about that. I'll mention that in a minute. I'm going to fair with Total Boat's Total Fair, and I'm going to put a 2-part epoxy primer on the outside of all that, and then I'm going to finish it up with gel coat. Gel coat because most of the other polyurethane boat paints won't do well sitting in the water for more than a day or two at a time. So if you're making a sailing dinghy that you're going to sail for the day and then pull out and put back on the trailer, that would be a fine choice. But in my case, this boat's going to be a tender for the sailboat, and it will be in the water maybe for days at a time as I go from one place to another in the Chesapeake Bay. And so I decided that gel coat would be the better choice because gel coat is compatible with being in the water. That's the outside. The inside of the boat is in pretty good shape, but I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to prime and then paint with Total Boat's Wet Edge topside paint. I'm going to just rebuild the woodwork inside the boat, the aft seat, the mast partner. I'm going to add a third seat in the middle, which I'll put in a position that would be just about right for rowing from the aft of these 2 oarlocks. That seat has never been in the boat, and when I would row the boat, I would just sit on a pile of life jackets in the middle, which that seems like we could do better than that. We're just going to sand off the gunnels, and I'm just going to varnish those. I've already taken the rub rail off, which you've seen or will see on the video. And that's it. We're going with Fighting Lady Yellow gel coat on the outside, and I think it's called Kingston Gray Wet Edge topside paint on the inside. I consulted with Kathy about the color combo, and that's what she came up with, so that's what we're going with. So that's the plan. And we just have to finish taking off a little bit of the hardware. And oh, one other thing. Ed had drilled holes in the side of the boat. You might be able to see. Here's one right here. There's a pair of them in the bow, a pair in the stern. I believe that he put fenders there, either as flotation or protection against the dock. And since we're going to be draping the boat in chop strand, I'm just going to close up all those holes. The other thing is the rudder and the dagger boards. Here's one of the dagger boards, and it goes through these holes here. bolts through like so. And so I'm going to refinish these. I'll probably put a layer of glass over them, and then we'll see. I don't know what color they're going to end up. That might depend on whether I have more of the gray or more of the Fighting Lady yellow left over. I think just as soon not spend more money on materials. We'll see how that goes. All right. By the way, I'm a little concerned about how cool it is in the basement here. We keep it about 70 degrees upstairs. Definitely cooler in here. I got my little meat thermometer, and you can see that it's indicating about 62 degrees, which I found by comparison with the thermostat upstairs. This reads about 2 degrees cool at these low temperatures, so that makes it about 64 here in the basement. So that should be okay for the epoxy job. A little cool, but I'm using the slow hardener. We'll see how that goes. That was a replacement, I guess. Rusty. Well, the hardware that was up here in the bow is pretty much toast. This piece set up here like that. It was held in from the outside with this rusty, grody old bolt. It came through here, and you can see that getting it out left me some work that needs to be done. And this wood is just so soft and rotted, as you can see. That'll all be replaced.